What's up, guys? Welcome back. We have the one and only Alexis here joining us from Cosmic Key, from KINESIS, the lead creative director / lead designer from KINESIS. Is that right, Alexis?
That's correct. That's correct.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Was a blast watching you play the game.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's very funny.
I'm liking it. I'm slowly piecing them together. Some of the pieces I've had a struggle with going through some of those levels, but I'm liking it a lot so far. So, guys in the chat, if you're watching, you are more than welcome to ask questions during this interview. If you have questions about how the game was designed or just life at Cosmic Key and anything in that vein, just let us know. We'll kind of bring those up as we go. But first of all, can you just kind of introduce yourself to people of what your role is in the game, not only for KINESIS, but also for Cosmic Key as a whole?
Yeah, I'm the creative director and founder and co-founder, or like the second founder of Cosmic Key. And basically, for KINESIS specifically, I was basically everything around making the game in terms of like programming, design, everything. So everyone else besides me were mostly artists or only artists. So yeah, that's what I did. I did like the game idea, creative direction of all the artists, programming, design, basically. Yeah.
Nice.
That was my role.
And have you guys just done KINESIS primarily, or are there any other games you've worked on in the past?
Yeah, this is our first released game. So like before that, we did another project, but we were on Transfuser, if you know that event. But it's like a game event in the UK. It's pretty big, but we didn't release that game. We did KINESIS, so yeah.
Nice. Very cool. So you're pretty new overall to game development, it sounds like, with this being your first game that you've released, like I said.
Yeah, the company only exists for like a little bit more than a year now. So
okay, nice. Yeah. Well, I love the game so far. What's kind of the story behind KINESIS in terms of like where's the inspiration from? Have you guys been working on it for a long time, or is it still pretty new?
Yeah. So about the inspiration, I love puzzle platformers. Like I love a lot of type of games, but like I love puzzle platformers, and specifically Portal was one of my like games that I loved in my childhood, and I think this is probably the biggest inspiration. And other than that, it's just crazy fantasies and like dreams that you had once, and you just say like, let's put that in a game. You know, like yeah, that's basically everything. Yeah, about the time we took to work on that is basically a little bit less than 3 months. So
wow.
We started in the beginning of October and then released on the 21st of December. But we constantly continue developing, or at least on my side now, I'm making nearly every day an update, and I'm bringing out levels all the time. So about the length of the game, I don't know yet. It's actually you were pretty far. It was actually pretty cool. But there's gonna be much more levels, and especially like a completely new area. You're gonna be able to see something very soon. Actually, in your last level, you could actually see it in the horizon. Maybe you can spot it if you continue playing it. There's a completely new area coming, and yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So it sounds like you guys are still pretty fresh overall with the game, especially if you just kind of started in October and it's already playable and launched kind of in December, but you're still iterating on it, which is pretty cool. And it seems like, do you feel like you'll keep working on it for a while? Are there other things you guys are working on at the same time? What's the story there?
So first of all, like I personally want to continue it down to the point where I imagine it to be in terms of levels, in terms of like mechanics, and there's only like small quality of life changes, or when we have a pretty open communication with the community. So on the Discord, you can literally text, chat with us. You can suggest things. We actually had a review on Steam from someone. It was actually a negative review, and I've read through this very thoroughly. And I most of the things that he suggested there were things that I wanted to work on anyways. But some of the things were actually pretty great, and we put that all in the game. And then after a month, we replied and we said like, hey, we fixed everything you mentioned. You want to take another go? So that's basically it. But in terms of like how far the game's gonna go, besides my own personal like amount of levels or direction I wanna achieve, it depends on the community. If there's a lot of people interested in more, I'll just make more. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that that's how it is. Like,
That's super cool.
yeah.
So kind of see what the community says and respond to it, essentially. That's
Yeah.
a great idea. Question from Peachy Fit here in the chat, who said, what's the benefits of releasing a game early as a game developer and continuing to release content versus spending a long time working on a game and waiting for it to kind of be perfect before it comes out? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, it really depends, because the thing really was that we set a goal. We sat down in October and we said, like, let's release a game until the end of the year. That's like a goal. Let's do this. And we went mad on the game. We like pushed through, and but to his question, it really depends on the situation. We decided that because it's what he describes sounds a little bit like early access, but that's not specifically what we're doing. We released the game as a full product, and now we just adding content, like kind of like DLCs, but they're for free, obviously, because they're just updates, right? So it's kind of like this. And the advantages is, on one side, if you had early access, so if you release it early, I guess it's all down to you know, money wise. So let's say you need money in your studio, you're gonna release your game earlier in order to get money in to be able to develop further. Because especially when you're young, you like, there's nothing there for you. You just like you're living from air and love. If we, yeah, that's basically it. You know, you just gotta like work really hard, and releasing it earlier could have that benefit. But for us, it was just, we just set that goal. We wanted to do it.
Yeah, with that deadline. I think so Reinzin, did I say that right in the chat? Is that someone from Cosmic Key that you work with? Or that you know from the community maybe? Said basically just said the hustle is huge at Cosmic Key. It's REANZEN.
Oh no, this is actually one of my childhood friends. That's funny that he's here. Like, yeah, that's funny.
That's great.
No, he just probably hears some updates from me once in a while. So no, he's not from Cosmic Key, but yeah.
Nice.
But he knows what's going on. So.
Do you want to talk about the team really quickly? Because I think you said there's a lot of artists, but you're the one doing most of the actual coding. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. So we have like continuously there were like in total 3 people working on it, which was our animator.
It was a Google.
I said okay, Google, right? I
yeah.
said okay, that's why.
It heard you.
Yeah. No. So we have our animator, Jazz, who worked on this. We had our environment artist Peter, and me. Us 3, we worked on the game for the most part. In the beginning, we had our character artist Royce basically make the hands ready to animate and stuff, and then and on and off, I was working with a concept artist, a friend of mine, Mohammed, and he worked like shortly in between. The dog.
Sorry about that.
The dog as well. No. Yeah, and that's it. So we were like the full team was 5 people, but like the most the longest time of work went to 3 people basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. That makes sense. It's pretty crazy to see how much you guys have created with your team, and so fast. I would say between October and December to get all that done, because it's a really beautiful looking game, I will say. So the artists definitely show up, and I think the more I play it, it seems like I kind of get the feel for it more. Have you guys had any speedrunners or anything yet? Because it seems like the kind of game where like you would really get the sense of it after playing it for a while and be really fast as you play through.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because we had a speedrunning event actually. I think it was like a few weeks after release, and there were some really crazy people there. There were some we got sent some like in the beginning I tinkered around a little bit with the movement system, and I reworked it a little bit because it was I wanted to make it more precise and make it more consistent. But in the beginning, someone like, it reminded me a little bit of like these, I don't know if you played Half-Life back then in the days, there was like a movement glitch where you could like bunny hop, or you can like stand
Yeah.
on an object underneath you and it would like lift you up.
Yep.
And he found like a glitch where you would throw the ball sideways and you teleport right before the wall, and it would like yeet you like into space, like out of the skybox nearly. And it was
wow.
hilarious. Like people were coming out with things where they like had like 3 seconds to finish one level, which is like insane.
Jeez.
So yeah, we definitely want to also do another speedrunning event. Like if the community wants that, we would love to do another event, or like a lot of events, different type of events. But speedrunning is there. There's also a timer there. I hope it works for the new levels as well, actually. So you can actually check your times in the level select.
Yeah. Mine would be very bad right now, but I could go back and check on those for
It's
sure.
your first try. You're gonna get better.
That's cool. And again, it seems the kind of game though that once you get the mechanics down, you could like find new ways to do things or shave off time. So that's super cool how you guys have that in there.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's a question from Fostoni, hopefully I'm saying that right, who said, are there any plans to add more background levels to the story and further development of the game? Maybe also opponents who can be defeated with the translocator balls or jumps? Interesting. So anything you can share on like adding background context or maybe multiplayer, sounds like, or actually I guess maybe like PvE more so.
So there's a lot of background context and story actually to the game, but since we don't have like a narrator, it kind of like lies in the surroundings. So if you look around a little bit and look at these like ancient symbols on the walls and everything, you can maybe make out a little bit here and there. Later on, especially now in the new level areas, there will be an entirely new place shown, and you will see that there's a certain culture behind that game, and there's like a certain maybe species behind that. Who knows? And yeah, so yeah, definitely. So yeah, there's a story, and further down the line, we will also like basically get closer to telling it with the surroundings, with the environment and everything.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think the symbols are really cool. It's funny how the symbols to me at first didn't mean much, but then as you go through levels, you kind of slowly learn what they mean and piece it together. So I can see there's probably a lot of work from your art team to create those and the story there. It's
actually pretty funny because before we released the game, like we already invited people on the Discord server, and there was a little bit things going on in our community server on Discord, and we had an event where we would give people beta access if they would guess the meaning of the symbols, and we posted like a symbol every now and then, and people would guess it, and a few guess it. They didn't guess all of them, but the symbols basically tell you everything about yourself, like that they have like, especially the symbol on your hand has all the information about your abilities and everything in there. It's all like basically kind of like put in there, and
that's cool.
So there's definitely more to it. But it was interesting that you could just play the first few levels without the looking at the board, and then later on I was kind of go on.
I think probably because I saw the trailer, like I had more of an idea to pick up stuff, and I'd seen a couple of the first levels, so I knew that much, and then I kind of pieced it after that. But once you got to later levels, I did have to learn, like look at the board and try and guess what it was saying essentially and piece it together. So
you generally, like, if you want to understand the later boards, you have to like pay attention to the first ones generally.
That makes
Especially,
sense.
I was laughing so much when on two occasions when you like cheated the fifth level, I think, where you just went on top of the wall, and I was like, oh boy, I wonder if because you miss out like an important information about that like mechanic, and especially in like the speedrunning event, people cheesed so much, and I was like, I got angry, and I felt a little bit like GLaDOS, like watching them, and I'm like, no, this is not how you do it. This is not how it's supposed to do it. You naughty boy. That's like, it was hilarious. Like, especially watching people play. It's like the funniest part of all of it. Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, because especially speedrunning, people will rate the game as much as they can to get the fastest time. So
definitely.
I can imagine. It's like you're watching that and you just had no idea something was possible, and that happens. That's great. There was a question from Allie about how you guys came up with the idea of the story. Basically, you talked a little bit about that, but any other like inspirations besides Portal maybe that you guys pulled from for like the cosmic side of it and the space sort of feel to it?
Okay, so it's actually a funny story. So basically, it was my final year in university. And first of all, like the main inspiration is Portal. I always wanted to make a game that has like that is like puzzle where you need a little bit of brain, but I wanted in Portal what I missed in Portal was like there needed to be a little bit more control over the movement. I mean, in Portal, definitely it's like insanely about the movement, about like the maintaining the speed from one portal to the other and using that. But I wanted to have a little bit more like advanced movement where you like can control like with wall jumping and stuff like this. That's generally the first part, and then the basically, and it sounds weird, but the basic background story to it is me only sleeping 3 hours in university, going into the lecture hall, and then basically he was presenting. It was like final year, and he was the professor was presenting like basically making a presentation about what's going to be the final year project and whatever. And I really wanted to pay attention, but I constantly fell like asleep for like this. And in this like sleep, in this like little like seconds of sleep that I had like the weirdest dreams. And since I'm always obsessed with space, anyways, I love space, and this all combined together, and I just said like that's a good game idea. After I came out of the lecture, I was like, I have to make this a game one day. And then like when we made the games company, it just came to happen, I guess.
So it just came to you in a dream. You had a vision of this space game. You had to make it happen.
It sounds cheesy, but it's literally that. So
that's cool though. No, I think it's a very unique feel to it. In terms of like there are other puzzle platformers like you said, but it feels so much different than Portal because of the setting and the mechanics and everything, and even other games. Like we played. Do you know Superliminal? Have you played through that or seen that before?
I heard the name, but I never played to it, and I already regret it because if you compare it, I missed out some like puzzle game, I guess, or was Superliminal a puzzle game?
Well, it's not movement based in the same way that KINESIS is. It's kind of like a first person puzzle game, so it's the whole thing where like you resize objects essentially. But anyway, like yeah. Once you think of that, you've known it, but. It's different because it's so like the setting is so unique, I think, for your game compared to these other games. So I think that makes it feel a lot different, which is super cool.
Yeah, well, it was that game where it's about perspective, where you like take objects, and if you turn it further away, it will actually grow and scale to that. So that was that's such a I love that idea. That was amazing.
It's crazy. We just played through that and did a giveaway last week for that. So then to do this game afterwards is cool to kind of compare the two and see the differences for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. That's
very
amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking through the chat really quickly to see if I missed anything. I think we talked about how we started the project already. Do you kind of want to talk about like any? I know you're already working on this game quite a lot. Do you guys have plans to work on other games, or are you already working on stuff? If you can share anything, if you can't, it's okay. You want to keep it secret. It's up to you.
Yeah. From my side of in our like games company, from my side, there's definitely a lot of ideas for a lot of different types of games. Maybe keeping things in the same universe, you know.
Oh, nice.
So maybe in different times, but the same universe. Not obviously the same mechanics. Obviously it's gonna be a different game. But I really wanted to. I really love first person, specifically because of the challenge that is behind first person. Because you can do so much storytelling with just that seeing hands. I think that was like something that I'm really fascinated about, like having like only hands and like trying to tell the most story out of like that small area that you have, like just your hands. I think especially games like Overwatch did that very well, where every character's like characteristic is really like embedded in the hands, just like the way they move, the way they breathe even. And I wanted to go further down and do some first person stuff. If it's gonna be a shooter or I don't know. But basically, yeah, we definitely want to do more games. Yeah, and hopefully sooner than later. But for now, I want to like continue working on KINESIS and like getting the levels further. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'll definitely keep playing it because I love the levels so far. I don't know really how far in I am relative to the current length of the game, but it's really cool. And also, I love the point you make about the hands because That is so true. Like so many games you play through with Overwatch and everything, there's so much expression in FPS games that you have to do through the hands because you can't see the character otherwise. So that's really interesting. Pretty cool.
Definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody else have questions in the chat, guys? I think for me, for someone who's never played this game before, like what do you think people should know going into it? Essentially, if they want to start playing it, but they're not really sure what to expect going in.
Oh, I mean, I guess mostly it's the thing really is like it's if you play Portal, it's kind of like in my experience, it's kind of like that feeling of like you wanna finish that damn level. You just wanna do it. You wanna prove it, and that I think that's one part. It's like this feeling of success of finishing a level, and it's gonna get much harder, especially in the next few levels. I actually want to see you do them. Like I'm really interested if you're gonna make them, because they're gonna get very hard now. So puzzling, movement, and there's gonna be, as I said, a lot of like new environment things. This is what they can look forward to. Like there is a new area coming up. You will actually be able to see it. I think you're already seeing it in the last level. If you play further, this certain area will come closer in the horizon, and you can actually observe it.
I'll have to look for it then. That's pretty cool. You guys add like Easter eggs basically into the game for that kind of thing. There was a really good question from chat about VR, because this is a first-person game. It seems like it'd be kind of a crazy, like, would really be trippy in VR. But any thoughts about VR from you guys?
First thing that comes into my mind is motion sickness.
Yeah.
No, but no. Actually, that's an interesting question. Like, to make it to realize that on VR, but it would be crazy. I mean, like imagining like flying over through. That's crazy.
Looking around.
It's actually a good idea. In honesty, I didn't think about it like this, but I mean, if this game is if it's well received from the community and they want to see more, like if we have the means to do that, then like why not make a VR version? That sounds super interesting actually. Because like imagining you hang on to the wall like with one hand and you just like oh shit, I'm gonna that's must be hilarious, especially because the controls are easy, like you could like hold the sphere and like catch it like the way that's actually amazing.
The chat, everyone in the chat thinks you should do it now, so
you have to make a VR game. I'm reading it right now.
Yeah. I will buy it. So I mean, it'd be crazy though for some of those, because there's a long jumps that you have over the level. Can you imagine like flying through that in VR? It might be really tricky, but it costs me really fun if you be able to do that.
Especially if you miss a platform, like
you start freaking out.
Help.
Well, you see people doing those climbing games, and then they fall, and the person in real life falls down. So imagine that for this game, you're falling to the abyss, basically. That'd be pretty crazy in VR.
Definitely.
Oh man,
definitely.
Awesome. I think that's most of my questions. Is there anything you want to say to people who are watching about kind of where to follow the game or your studio in general, or socials you want to plug?
Yeah. So basically, we have a Twitter. We have a Discord. Just join the Discord. Like even if you don't have the game yet, you can ask questions. You can even if you want some mechanic in there or you have a crazy idea, we're gonna consider it. We're like very open with the community. We want to hear what everyone has to say. So definitely just join the Discord and like engage with us. We're gonna be very open to questions. Like if people are gonna text us, we're gonna like reply in the same hour probably.
That's awesome.
So that's the main sources of information for our company. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, make sure you check out Discord and Twitter. And I don't know if we have any mods in the chat, but if you guys can link that stuff, it'd be awesome. It's also, I think both of those are featured in the giveaway. So like if you enter the giveaway, there's an option to follow on Twitter and join the Discord. So that works too. And that giveaway, by the way, is open till Monday for 50 of these, I believe, 50 codes. So make sure you guys get that as well. I appreciate you being on here, Alexis, man. Thanks for coming on last minute. And it was really cool to talk about the game. I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for being on again.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Cool, guys. We're going to go back. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Come back on and play a little more of this game probably, because I want to play more of that level after seeing there's Easter eggs.
I'm watching.
Yeah, always watching. Guys, we're back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. And thanks again, Alexis. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See ya.